video, I am going to be working out here. I have really been enjoying this little, I don't know what to call it, my little mouse village. It's not really a village, my mouse house. I've been really enjoying it, and every year I try to add more and more to it, and I want to make it into a spring/summer diorama, I guess, instead of the winter. I want to get rid of the winter, and I want to build more onto it. I want to make an actual like hill diorama with the mouse's house like inside the hill. Like it'd be like you were standing and the front part of the little hill was cut off and you were peering into the mouse's house, which is basically what a diorama is. It's where you're peering into a scene. So I picked up some things. I ordered some things off of Hobby Lobby and they came in the mail, and I also got something that I have been looking for a long time, and I finally found it on eBay, and I'll show you that. And then we're going to build a diorama. So let me show you what I picked up. Let me do a little haul here of the things I picked up from Hobby Lobby and then the supplies that we're going to be using to create this scene. This is the little mouse figurine that started it all. I found this at Salvation Army. I paid $2.99 for it several years ago, and this is what I've been basing that whole scene on out there. And since I found her, I've been looking and looking and looking for a daddy mouse that was of the same like size, and I've tried and tried. I found a few little daddy mouse figurines. One has a Christmas tree that I put out there at Christmas time, and it works fine. Well, I finally peeled this label off and was able to read what brand this little mouse figurine is. And it's Mouseskins. So I went online and was looking for Mouseskins. And apparently, I don't know, I guess they don't make them anymore. But I was able to find exactly what I was looking for on eBay. And this is what I found. It's a little daddy mouse, and he's got the little children, and he's reading them a story. And I thought, with these two together, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. And they are a Mouseskins, obviously. So I told Olivia, I said, hey, if you see any more of these little Mouseskins figurines, those would make a perfect birthday present or something, or Mother's Day gift or something for me, because they are adorable and I love them. So now I do have my daddy mouse and my mommy mouse and all the little baby mice. So he's going to be obviously going to be added to the scene. So then when I was on Hobby Lobby, they have all kinds of stuff for doll houses. The proportions might be off a little bit as far as, you know, if they are this right size for these mice, but they're as small as I could find. And where do I start? I found this Home Sweet Home picture that I'm going to put in their little house. I found all these little canned vegetables and canned goods. This little basket with the bread in it. Found another little lantern. I have one in my little diorama as it is, but I found another one I thought might be, it's smaller, it might look better. I got these little house plants. Everybody needs house plants. I got this little box. It's like a hanging basket with flowers. And then of course every home needs a Bible or two. So I got these Bibles, and then I got this cupboard. And it's about the same, like it matches in dimensions to the stove that I have out there. So those are all the little accoutrements that I got at Hobby Lobby. And I also got some crafting supplies, some floral foam and some quilt batting. And I'll be showing you what I'm going to do with that. In my stash, I found some evergreen trees that do not have snow on them. I want to continue to use evergreens in all year round, but obviously you don't want the ones with snow on them. I found this one plus a couple others I already have out there. in the entryway, but I didn't have enough. So I looked online and I found this at Amazon, and these were actually used for model railway landscapes, but these are really nice trees that I'm going to add into the diorama as well. And when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I went on YouTube. You can find just about everything here on YouTube on how to make a landscape, because that's basically what I wanted to do. And that's when I found that people that love to do model trains, apparently they will make extremely elaborate landscapes for their model trains. And this technique that I'm going to use is one that I saw in a video. If I can find the video, I'll link it below, but it was for a model railway. And so I'm not going to be able to do exactly how he did it, because I don't have, I'm not into model railway building, so I don't have all of the equipment that he used, but I'm going to use the basic concept to do what I'm envisioning. So I'm going to be using this piece of foam board, some floral foam, as you saw, plus I have some more floral foam that was in my stash, but I knew I wasn't going to have enough, some moss, that quilt batting, a hot glue gun, some green paint, I got this off of Amazon, and Mod Podge, you want it to be the matte kind, which I got this at Amazon as well. And then in my stash I found some small flowers. You want it to be small flowers because they're going to be in proportion. You try to keep this proportional. A ruler, a pencil, which I don't have right in front of me at the moment, a knife, X-Acto knife, and some scissors, and wire cutters. So I'm going to get all this stuff moved out of the way. I'm going to put a sheet down or some kind of an old cloth down to protect my tablecloth, and we'll get set up to figure out what in the world, how in the world I'm going to do this diorama for my mouse house. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little tape measure here, and I'm going to actually measure how big their actual house, in air quotes, is. Because not all of this scene takes place inside their house. Like from about here on, that's outside their house. So I'm not going to build their actual house much farther than this. So I just need to measure how long, how deep, and how high I need the diorama to be. That's what I'm going to do. I won't video that part, but that's what I'm going to do next.
After I got the basic measurements written down and in my mind of how I was going to do this, I went ahead and just kind of did a rough sketch out on the poster or the foam board because it's going to be the base that I build the house on. And then I just used my box cutter knife to cut through the foam board. I didn't press too hard because I didn't want to cut into my table, but I cut through the main portion of it, and there was just a small paper bit on the back that I had to go ahead and cut through with the knife on that side as well. Then I just used the same technique to cut out all the different pieces of the house.
So the front of the diorama, I don't want it to be completely square. I want it to be kind of winding. So I made some marks here, and I'm just going to freehand something like that. think this one needs to go a little bit. And it won't matter if there's extra markings on here because it's all going to be covered up in the end. Okay, so I'm going to kind of make it like that. I'm just going to use, I think, my scissors to cut this out because it'll be a little bit too hard to do with the cutting, the box cutter. I ended up using the box cutter on it after all because it actually was easier than the scissors. I want it to kind of look like a sloping hill that comes up and then back down, and then in this part here, that's where the living space of the mouse house is going to be. Mainly more like this whole space here. So what I'm going to do to make the roundness of it, that's where I'm going to use the floral foam. I'm going to hot glue them together once I figure out how exactly I'm going to do it, and then we'll go on to the next step. So I'll probably put all of the fiddling around that I'm going to do with the floral foam in fast motion so you guys don't have to sit here and watch it in slow motion, because I honestly am just kind of winging it. Never done anything like this before, and yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. This backing is what you will see. It will be the back wall of the mouse house. So I'm going to cover it with some of this wood grain contact paper that I've had in my stash to make it look like they have a wooden wall in their house. And since this is going to be the floor of their little house, I'm going to go ahead and put some of this wood grain contact paper on the bottom of this too, before I start building the hill. So I have the floor done and the back wall done. As you saw, I tried to start with the styrofoam or the floral foam, and it just wasn't working for me. So I'm going to go this route, and hopefully this works. I'm going to shape the roof, because it's not going to be a flat, it's going to be a hill, a rolling little hill that they live in. So I'm going to go ahead and shape this and trim that off, and then I'm going to glue it to the floor. And then I'll add floral foam to the top to give it kind of a rounded look. When I get it all done, hopefully you can see where my mind is going and why I'm thinking it through this way. Okay, so I'm going to do that next. add more stability to the roof, I am putting hot glue, and then I'm using toothpicks, and I'm pushing it through the foam into the lip of the this foam board, so that will help hold it steady or more securely. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just poking it through into the foam board. What's tricky is getting it into the foam board. There we go. And I will snip off these toothpicks when I'm done. I'll leave them in as like a foundational anchor, but I'll snip the tips off because I don't need them to be that tall. Those toothpicks add a lot of stability to this. I even put toothpicks between from foam to foam. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to record it, but I'm going to go ahead and just glue foam and toothpick foam all the way along the whole edge of this roof. When I get that all done, I'll bring you back. So I have the basic form of the hill. I'm trying to make a hill where you look inside and you see their house. I think you kind of get that idea. So what you do next, and this is the part I learned from that video I watched. They already had their hill formed, so this was all done out of my own head. What they did, they took quilt batting and covered their hill, got it the way they wanted it, then they used Mod Podge to glue it down. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to form the hill with the quilt batting and then Mod Podge it on, and I'll use my wire cutters to trim these toothpicks down. So I got most of it glued on with the Mod Podge. Mod Podge is still wet. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of tidy it up with the hot glue gun because it's, first of all, it's faster, and second of all, I've found out I am not very handy with Mod Podge. I don't know if that was caught on tape, but if it was, you'll see I made a giant mess. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and just hot glue the edges down. This is the back of it. And then I'm going to hot glue down the front and wrap it around. I'm not going to video that because, you know, self-explanatory. So I have this all glued down and I ended up putting some on the inside, and I'm going to paint that brown because they are living inside of a little hill, so that would be the dirt. I'm going to paint that brown, and then I'm going to paint the top of this green. I'm going to do the inside first because the glue is still just a little bit wet. So I'm going to be using this Apple Barrel Nutmeg. This was some that Olivia had, and there's a lot here, so I know there'll be plenty. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first. Paint the inside ceiling, their ceiling. Have the, you can't really see it very well, but I have the ceiling painted, and now I'm going to paint this front edge right here brown. The green for the roof is Apple Barrel Spring Green. While the paint is still wet, it will kind of act like glue. So I'm going to take a little bit of this moss that I have, and I'm going to crumble it up in really fine, a really fine powder kind of, and I'm going to sprinkle that all over the top. It'll give dimension and texture to it, and it'll just add a little bit more interest and maybe cover up a few places where I missed some paint. But as you can see, when you paint quilt batting, it kind of makes it look like grass. I don't know if it's picking up on camera or not, but in real life, it kind of looks like astroturf or fake grass. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now and before the paint dries. It didn't grind up as fine as I was thinking it would, but that'll be all right for the first layer. Now once this is completely dry, I'm going to be hot gluing other things on here to make it look a little bit more realistic and to help cover up any of the seams and flaws that I might have on there. Now it's probably going to take quite a while for this to dry. I don't know if I'll even get back to it today. I probably will have to wait until tomorrow because that quilt batting soaks up a lot of paint. So like I said, I might not be able to finish this till tomorrow, but for you that doesn't really matter because you'll see it all in one video. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let this dry thoroughly, and when it's dry I'll be back. I'm having my doubts that paint is going to be enough to hold that on there. So I'm going to go ahead and just give it a little quick spritz with this Craft Bond spray adhesive just over the top of that to help adhere that stuff in place. The next morning, the paint is dry and the stuff is stuck on there. Now, before I spend any more time putting embellishments and adding detail to this, I'm going to actually put it out in this place where I'm going to keep, have it, just to see how much is actually going to be shown. I'm not real 100% sure that much of the roof of this is going to be very visible, so I don't want to put a ton of embellishment on there and then you're not be able to see it, or put a ton of stuff on there and then it's not going to fit in the spot. So before I can do that though, I have to completely take down the seam that's out there. So I'm going to do that next. that, it fits just about perfect. But I was right, you can't see a whole lot on the top. So I'm not going to do a whole lot more on the very, very top, but I am going to do quite a bit along the edges, the parts that you can see. The first thing I'm going to do is I got some twigs from outside, and I'm going to glue them along the baseboard so that it looks like trim, like you would have in your house. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of snap these, and I hope you can see. This is probably going to be a little bit challenging for you guys to see. But I'm just going to snap the twigs off into straight pieces, as straight as I can get them, and then just start gluing them along the base. So I'm using these twigs, and then I've also got some rocks, and I'm using these to kind of just not only add interest and add detail, but to kind of like cover up anything that I don't really like very well, or things like that. This twig is a little bit wet, so I don't know if it's going to stick very well, but I'll just leave it. I'll probably have to glue it again. Up along this top ledge, I have some of these little moss rocks. I got these at Dollar Tree last year. I'm just going to put a few of those up along the edge here if I can. And I also have these little mushrooms that I'm going to stick in there as well. Like I said, you're not going to be able to see much of the top, but you will see the front edge of it. I also have a bunch of these little stones that I'll glue along the top edge as well. And I also have more of the actual moss that I can put along that top edge. I might just put a whole thing of moss right along here to cover up that seam. put sticks, because I had a seam there that I didn't really like, and so I put sticks there to in the corners and up to kind of mimic rafters and stud walls, and I don't know. I'm not a carpenter, but to kind of just cover up those things I didn't like. And then I kind of covered this corner because it was kind of messy. And yeah, that stick did come off, but I was able to glue it back again, and it's staying this time. So, and I got all of this top edge pretty much done. I still need to work on this edge over here. So I'm going to go ahead and flip that around. I'm not going to video it because I don't want this video to be too long, and I don't want it to be redundant, and you know, I just want you guys to get the basic idea of what I'm doing. So once I get that corner over there done, then I'm going to start working on the layout inside the house with the furniture and stuff like that. I've got this little flower box, and I want to hang it off the corner here, but I don't want to make it permanent because in the wintertime this won't be there. So I have, where did it go? Here we go. I have a little piece of wire, and I'm going to hot glue it there and then bend a hook that I can hang this on. That's cute. That is really cute. So I got the furniture that is usually in her little house, and just to kind of see how I want to put things and where I want to put things. This little stove was my grandmother's, and I believe she got it from Avon. I'm not sure. Maybe it wasn't Avon. It's LEGO on the bottom. I don't know what that means, but it's got instant coffee on the front, and so I think that's what it was for, was to hold instant coffee. And it may have had a few more paint details and stuff, but this is old. This is really old, but it fits perfectly inside my little mouse house here. And I measured this when I ordered the cabinet to make sure that it was proportional. Like, now all the proportions are not going to be perfect on this, but I wanted to try to get as close as I could, you know. Oh, the drawers come out. I didn't know that. And this is unfinished. Look at that. The little doors open. That is really cute. And I haven't decided what I want to do with this. I might make a really thin paint and do like a wash, like a stain, but I haven't decided for sure yet. I just want to see where I'm going to place this stuff in the house, because where I decide to put the stove is going to have to be a permanent place, because you don't move your stove around. And I always had this little box. It's just a little jewelry box. I can't even remember where I got it. And I like using it for elevation, height. And I thought about making like a little ladder to put on the side of it, but mice are good climbers, so they would be able to scurry right up this. I don't have to worry about making a ladder to go on it. So I think I'm going to put that back. This is kind of where I had it out there when I didn't have the diorama made. There, and then this little chair was right here, and I kind of had the stove over on this side. Now I'm just wondering, yeah, that fits right back in that corner really good. All right, just a minute, Ollie. Oliver needs to go outside. I need to do more morning chores, so I'm going to go ahead and put my camera on the charger, go do those things, and then come back in and finish working on this. Oh, Ollie just kicked the tripod. I'll be back. So what I did is I kind of turned things around. I used to keep the stove over here, but I thought it would fit better back in that corner. And what I'm going to do is I took a piece of linoleum that kind of looks like rocks, and I'm going to actually glue some rocks all the way around the edge of it. Because you know, when you have a wood burning stove, you always have to have something that's not flammable under it to keep your house from burning down. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I don't know, I don't think I'm going to, at first I thought I was going to like physically like glue it in place, but I think I'm not going to do that, just in case somewhere down the line I decide I want to change it, then I can just move it around. But I am going to go ahead and glue the rocks all the way around the edge of it. Okay, so I got that done. That was not as easy as I was hoping it would be. I didn't realize that rocks were so unruly. I tried hot gluing them, just hot gluing them. It didn't really work, so I ended up having to use some of this like super glue and hot glue, and they're still wet, so it'll be fine though, because that's where it's going to stay. So I think I decided I am going to stain this so that matches all the other wood. And so I just have a little jar of water here, and I'm going to add some of this paint. This is burnt umber, and it makes it really, really thin, obviously, and it just kind of just gives a hint of color, and it dries really fast. So that's what I'm going to do next. These are some things I had in my stash. This little wooden spool and this little wooden button. And I'm just going to hot glue these together to make like a little table. I want to make a little bush, or a little flower bush or something that's going to be growing right in there. I've got this Home Sweet Home picture, and I am going to hot glue that to the wall wherever I decide to put it. I think it'll be pretty easy to pop it off if I decide to change it at some point, but I have to figure out where I want to put it inside here. Well, you couldn't really see me putting it in there. The angle is just not good, but that's where I've got it, hanging inside next to their hutch. So I think this is about all I'm going to do on it like this. I'm going to go take all the furniture back out of it and go put it in its spot. And then I'll try to set up the tripod out there as best I can. It's a very tight area, but I'll do the best I can and finish kind of putting it together out there. I have it out here where it's going to sit, and I've got a string of Christmas lights. You can see right there, going over the top, and then I'm going to put it back around in that side over there. But I think I want some lights like actually inside too, because it gets really dark in this corner back here. Doesn't look like it right now because it's daytime and everything, but it does. It gets really dark back in here, and I want it, you know, if I'm going to go through all this trouble to make this cute little scene back here, I want people to be able to see it. And by people, I mean my family, because we don't really have people come over too often. But let me see what I can do here. And I want to be able to hide the cord. I've got a 20 light strand here. I don't want to make it permanent, obviously, because these lights, they burn out so quick. So on the little hutch, I'm going to put these canned goods. Just stack those up there on the shelves. What does this say? Isn't that cute? Cut green beans. This one is tea. What is this? Oh, vegetable soup. These are really hard to see. There's times like this I wish I had smaller fingers. I'll put the tea down on the bottom shelf. This reminds me a little bit of what I do at work. Stocking shelves. Okay, there's 2 more soups. Somewhere in my stash I have little jelly jars, and I need to find them. And when I do, I'll put them out on this little hutch too. Put the green beans and the peas on the top shelf. There we go. Before I get done with this video, I want to see if I can find those jelly jars. They're so cute, and I've had them for a long time, and I just saw them not long ago. I think when I was cleaning my office. But now I can't, when I went to look for them to do this, I couldn't find them. Then I'm going to take this basket of bread. Bread does not come out, but that's good. I'm just going to set that there in the corner of the hutch. And then over in this corner, I'm going to put the little place where the mama mouse always sits. Let me see what I can do here. And then on top of here, I always had this little doily, which kind of acted like a rug for them. And I'm going to put her over here. And then I'm going to put this little table that I made beside them. And then on the little table, I'm going to put one of the Bibles, the other Bible, and this little book, little women book. in the Bible, I'm going to set on the hutch. I think I will move the T up here for now. Put the little books in here. Oh, the Bible's not going to fit. Rats. That book will. I also have this big lamp and the little lamp. The little lamp I think I'm going to set on with Mama Mouse. Kind of look like the light that's there is shining through it. I don't know, maybe I won't put that up there. We'll see. This is where it kind of gets to be fun. I get to just kind of play around. I've got this doily that I always use as a rug, so I'll put it right there. Alright friends, I think it is done. Pan out. Try to give you a wide view of it. It's not perfect, but there's some things that I can add and do different as time goes on. But I think it turned out, for the most part, really, really cute. No, I've not found those little jelly jars yet, but next time I run across them, I will bring them up and put them in here, not set them someplace else. But just some of the things I want to point out to you that I didn't show you when we were on film when I was doing it. So I put the little flower pots that I got at Hobby Lobby, one there and one back there on those pile of books. I made just took some twigs, hot glued them together to make a little wood pile for the stove. Now these pine cones, they use those for fuel too. There's this little basket. There's Daddy Mouse sitting in front of the fire reading to the kids, and all the other little forest creatures that are welcome to come in to the house anytime they want to. There's Mama Mouse and Molly Mouse sitting on their normal spot, working on knitting. I put some flower, I just kind of pushed those up there. They're not attached at all, but that way I can change them out for the seasons. Same thing with this over here. It's just in a vase, a green vase that kind of blends in, and I can change those out for the seasons. That's what I was trying to keep in mind, was how I could make this look like fall and like Christmas pretty easily. Another thing I added was this little pitcher pump. This actually I had in my gnome village last year, but I decided it would look better out here. Those trees that I got from Amazon, they're nice trees, but they were a little bit challenging to get to stand up because the base was really kind of lightweight. I don't know if you're meant to like glue them in place so that they're permanently in place. I don't know if that's how you use those or not, but I was able to work with it enough and figure it out. But yeah, it turned out really cute, and I'm really happy with it, and I had a lot of fun putting it together. I hope you guys had fun watching me. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and thanks so much for watching, friends. Bye-bye.